going on, people? Welcome to United View. I promised you lot that would make this happen. KG said, yep, he was watching something and Joleon Lescott was talking about Omar, and I went, what? I said, he knows Omar like that. I said, I got to hit him up. We got to hit it first on the count. But before we get to that, listen, guys, this is a big video, man. Big up to you, Joleon. Big up to coming on the channel, man. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you reaching out, and
Yeah, defo. We've got a lot to talk about. For those of you to give a little bit of context, well, actually, I don't. Hopefully, you can help us, Joleon, with a little bit of context. One, obviously, as United fans, we want to know more about Omar Baradas, what he does, what he is like as a man. But in terms of the context of how you know him and how you can give us such a deep insight, let us know about that, bro.
Yeah, so my first real contact with Omar was when I stopped playing, became an ambassador, and there was a few trips going on, and obviously his role in the club meant we would spend time together and just discuss certain things. And a lot of these starting projects were about sponsorships and relationships with the players, and so I'll just give a player's perspective on how you could help each other or how they could help each other. And that's kind of how it grew, really. And then obviously my involvement with the club became more in terms of the ambassador stuff. And it kind of transitioned from fan groups to more the partnerships and working with the partners and the sponsors. And again, spending more time with Omar because that was kind of his role. And then his role changed a little bit. And yeah, we just always stayed in contact. And I think we always respected each other because whenever we spoke of the club, Man City, it was very fondly for both parts, and yeah, it was just very respectful in that aspect. And then, as I said, it was always just that he always understood that I wanted the best for whatever role I was doing, because initially, or when I left the club, then I still was doing the loans. So I started being a loans development coach with a group of other staff, and he then would come.
When you say the loans, do you mean
the players that go on loan from Manchester City,
yeah,
and the City group, we would manage them. There was a group of 8 staff we had, and we managed it like a club, to be fair. So we took them for pre-season, and then we managed them throughout the season and throughout their journey of being on loan. And Omar was...
Is that just young players or senior too?
Whoever, yeah. So
whoever's on loan.
It was like academy, emerging talent, and so like emerging talent, one of the most famous, or 2 of the most famous, would be Douglas Luiz and Pedro Porro.
Oh yeah, you had. Oh, I forget. Yeah, Pedro Porro was there. You know,
the kind of players from emerging talent, academy, and then first team. So again, it would just... he would come in on some of the emerging talent, but mainly the first team players with Cheeky, and just see the review of what the players were doing. Again, his speciality wasn't knowing and critiquing the players. It was just, okay, this is what it should be like. What is the plan? And just monitoring that we're obviously doing what we said we were doing.
Guys, as you can see, like, this is firsthand, information here and insight, which is exactly what we wanted to gain. So we've started off on a really good foot here, bro. In terms of Omar Barada, we're all getting excited as United fans. It feels like a big coup. We can't believe it, etc., etc. But in terms of the man, like his CV, the type of work he's done, what type of man is he, and what type of things was he involved in, and how high up the chain was he up until just the other day into these
last week?
Last week.
He's very high in the chain. Again, I don't know the exact structure, but from his title and from his responsibilities, you would say he's in the top 3 to 4 people of the club. And probably, again, because the club is slightly not divided, but 2 parts, like the City group and then obviously Manchester City, different entities. So, yeah, I think his role within the club was huge. He was in all the decision-making processes, obviously very intelligent, articulate, respectful and professional. And you are getting someone that is very good at their job. He's obviously knows how to create cultures and standards. He's used to that because of working at Barcelona. They already had a culture, didn't they? And I think Man United have kind of lost that a little bit to an extent. So you
not a little bit, bro. We've lost it the whole way, man.
And then Man City were developing a new one. They had a culture before, and then it would kind of transition to what we see now. So he's obviously experienced both elements of sustaining a culture and being successful with Barcelona and creating a new one and being successful. So I'm sure they are the factors or some of the factors that would meant that you wanted him in charge.
Mm. How involved was he? I mean, we see stories that he was involved in the Haaland transfer, or he was involved in sort of vetoing players coming in to say no, that price isn't right. We've seen the famous clips of him sort of in boardrooms talking about player contracts and stuff. How hands on is he in terms of negotiations and signings and the actual the transactions of players?
Yeah, again, I don't know to the exact extent what that is, but
Mm,
he's in the process, and I don't think it's the responsibility of one person. I don't think it's like that at any club. But at
mm.
Man City, what you can say is it was very swift and very like there wasn't much. The kind of period of rumors and then speculation went. There was obviously Haaland was an extended version of that, but it happened and then it was talked about and then it happened. I think most of the players over the last 5 or 6 transfer windows have been the same way. It's like, oh, there's a rumor of that, and then all of a sudden you're seeing him there.
It just
You've been
happened.
holding a shirt, and some players
It's
you're not even
mad.
aware of. So in regards to identifying the talent, from what I know from Omar, he probably won't be doing that, but he'll definitely be involved in the process and how it is turned out. So even the way he moved, it wasn't speculated; it was done. So he
Really?
obviously,
So you'd get the feeling from him that he wouldn't just be procrastinating, talking about this
yeah,
thing that we're going to do.
I
He
don't
says
think,
it's going to happen, it
yeah.
just happens.
Well, again, if you recognise the way he went to United, there was no speculation before. It was literally everyone who woke up on the morning and was like, "Oh, Omar's gone to United," and that was it.
Mm,
So I'm sure he prefers to do business that way. I'm sure he will look to do business like that in all areas of the club. So where you are targeting players, it may be a little bit harder because there's going to be a lot more speculation with your recruitment because in the greatest respect there's probably more needed, but in the kind of process of it, it will just be like, well, let's stop speculating, let's get it to the final like hurdle and then we can announce it a lot sooner.
mm. I have. We are sort of thinking about that as United fans in terms of like because he's coming in. He's coming in as CEO. Like
Yeah.
he's coming in as like head honcho at Manchester United now, and we keep talking about structures and what we can see, obviously across the road at City is just how good that structure is.
Mm.
When it comes to if I look at players like Leroy Sane, João Cancelo, top players who are doing big things. When it's time to move players on, Pep's like, no problem. Like we'll
Mm.
just, Cole Palmer recently, like all of these types of things. That's the type of culture
Yeah.
we want at Man United. That's the type of structure we want at Man United. How do you feel that he's going to do in terms of stepping into like that bigger role in terms of CEO from the role that he's been doing? Do you think that will be quite seamless because of the attributes he has, sort of just as a man and as a professional?
Yeah, I think the professionalism is the key. I think he would have seen firsthand how that decision process is done, and if you even go back to previous generations or eras of United, that happened there. You know what I mean? Like Sir
Mm.
Alex moved players on, whether the timing was
At the
right.
right time,
It
yeah.
was just swift. I think fans and players respect it when there's less baggage around all the kind of sagas. I think if it's swift, it happens. Like players leave, Raheem Sterling, a legend of the club, it just happens. Do you know what I mean? There's no kind of delaying process or whoever it is. If he's coming in, he's coming in, and so I think he just understands what that is. But it's not going to be down to him because there are factors into that. I think when again, I don't know how it's done at United, but I think the recruitment policy will have to be taken away from the coaches then, because I think
Yeah.
with that comes more sentiment and more responsibility on the coach to have more loyalty with an individual. Where it's a case of, no, we identify the position, we identify the player. Do you want to sign him? Yes. Okay. So then there's less attachment to if it doesn't work, it's gone. Do you know what I mean? In the greatest respect, there'll be players that have left Man City that have signed and there hasn't been any kind of bad blood because it just happens. It's just swift. It's the greatest, and I hate using this word, but it's also a business. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Fans
Yeah.
respect the teams and there's loyalty there. It sometimes has to be a business element to the transactions.
But this is exactly what we've seen at United with players that have stayed way too long, being given new contracts when maybe they shouldn't have. Well, not maybe they shouldn't have. Then it's harder to shift players. Man United haven't been able to sell players for good value. If I look at, I mean, I've been doing some stuff on Sky Sports looking at some of the City players that have gone on to leave and some of the fees that have been commanded by City and how they run their academy. You know, I mean, looking at like James Trafford,
Yeah,
like best part of 19 million, including the add-ons, you know, to Burnley from Bolton, you know, didn't even have to play. I go back to Lavia, you
yeah,
know, it's, you know, like literally Cole Palmer is the face of Chelsea now. And now City are like, we've got Oscar Bob, don't worry. Like
yeah.
the next one's always there and
That
it's
takes time.
insane.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
does take time though. And again, for what Pep and the kind of club have created, and I don't want to be disrespectful to any player. It's
Nah, bro,
less likely for
this
them
is
to
what it
be
is.
needful of any player. I love Cole Palmer, but when you
Yeah.
have an Oscar Bob and a Phil Foden and a Kevin still in the mate like there, you may not need him. But also, you've not had Kevin De Bruyne, so how much have you needed him? And so
Mm,
I think you have to develop a club and not just a culture at the level of quality, like sustainability, consistency that allows you to make them decisions. Like again, you can be more emotional to certain things if the consistency is fluctuating. You don't know. We might need him. Do you know what I mean? Like we might need him in a month's time. We can afford for him not to play well. Where if you don't play well at Man City, there's someone there that will play and will perform, and the team will win without you, whether you want to admit or not. So I think to have that kind of same kind of thought process and execution, I think there needs to be a high level of consistency for United to be able to make them decisions.
yeah, that is what it is. And that's what we're looking to Omar for. How important do you think it is for United fans to be patient, you know, and perspective? Because obviously, when you know on social media and the banter between the two sets of fans,
Mm.
I done a podcast with another City fan, Steve McInerney, good friend of
Big
mine.
Steve.
Yeah, no, not Big Steve.
Oh,
Steve
Big Steve.
McInerney
Oh,
from
no,
with Steam. Yeah,
yeah,
but I will go check Big Steve actually because I know he's
yeah,
gonna have a lot to say about this.
yeah.
But and he's another one. When you're giving it, it's yeah, you lot think you're gonna be back, mate. Listen, we'll have another one of Omar tomorrow. This is what we do at City Group, and to fix Man United is going to take more than just just Omar Barada and actually Pep's presser today. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of Man United fans saying, "Oh, Pep's rattled and this that." I saw it as he's made some decent points, basically saying like, "Oh, look, if Omar goes there and all of a sudden they're just amazing with one guy, build him a stand." Like
Yeah.
he's basically saying it can't just be one guy.
Well, no,
So
yeah,
how? You know what I mean? It can't.
no way. And that's everything. Greatness can't be one element, and inconsistencies can't be one element. Like, and again, we'll touch on both sides. But if you look at United, there's not one factor that is making them not
Mm,
challenge. There's a whole different thing. There's so many different things, and that is the reason you probably required Omar is to identify what them things are and how you restructure them departments. So yeah, Pep's right, fans are right. Like Omar wasn't the thing. Like
the
no
sole reason.
individual. Yeah, there's no one element to it because if that was the case, the team wouldn't be performing when a player's missing. Do you know what I mean? Like again, there's so many different factors that have to be aligned for to have success, especially at the level now that the clubs are operating. Like
Mm.
we've seen United go in the past 10, 15 games unbeaten, but again, there's a new bar of now you have to win 10, 15 games in a row. So the level is so high, and to do that, it can't take one entity in any club.
Mm. With obviously at the time of recording, the Jurgen Klopp news broke today about him
Yeah.
leaving Liverpool, and just obviously Manchester United have now got Omar Barada and look like with Ineos they want to do different things. Is from a City perspective, is there a worry that like Pep could just
Sorry.
go, you know what, tired, like just do what Klopp's done. And
Mm.
with Omar leaving, is there a little bit of a worry that actually, well, Liverpool might go in a different direction? Pep could just leave. Man United could get good again. Like, do you feel like there could be a changing of the guard, or do you think City just have it just so solid that it's probably not going to be that?
Yeah, personally, and again, I don't know for anything.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a fair fight until Pep leaves. I
yeah,
think when he leaves, I think it's up for grabs. I think no one's as far as they think when Pep leaves. That's my honest
yeah.
opinion. But until that day, um, yeah, City will be favourites for me, regardless of who goes where. Do you know what I mean? I just see City as
Whilst he's there,
favourites. Yeah, I just see the kind of the machine because again, it's taking um, the credit away from the players, but what he's created in terms of the system, I think it's so efficient and so reliable that they can acquire lesser known players and
mm,
develop them into, well, this is what we need you to do. We're requiring you because you are like Doku. No one was really in for Doku, but we need you to operate in the final third, and you're gonna get 7 of them a game. We already know you can do 4 out of 8, whatever, for Lille, Rennes, like in French league. So now we're going to give you more responsibility to do what you're good at in the areas that you can perform. So, like I said, I
yeah,
think
it's mad. Same with
until
Akanji. There's been
yeah,
so many like that where
yeah,
you're going when he coming from Dortmund. It's like no one's really in for Akanji. What was that, like 17 million, something
yeah,
like that?
16,
It's like
17 million. It's like there's so many. Edison was the same. Rodri,
yeah,
like they're all players that have gone on and will be unreal. Listen, there is the glamorous ones like your Haalands and stuff, but
yeah,
even
yeah,
De Bruyne wasn't that. KDB wasn't the
bro.
guy.
Where was it? Wolfsburg, in it?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Look, there wasn't many people fighting for Kevin, and then City
Yeah.
got him, and then all of
Look
a
at
sudden,
Julian Alvarez now as well.
mm,
Like I just and that's the thing. Like of course, look, I'm not just gonna look at his United fans and say, right, we've got Omar Barada now, so like we're gonna move like that. Like you said, there has to be so much. But I just think the fact that we've got him so acutely
yeah,
when nobody knew. Was there a feeling around City that was it a shock to them too? How
yeah.
big of a shock
I
was it to
think
City?
yeah, I think there were certain people that knew because he would have friends. There
Yeah,
would be friendships and relationships that he would have wanted to tell, but in terms of the club, I doubt it. I doubt because and even if they did, I don't think it would have been. Well, it wasn't. Was it? It wasn't leaked because there is a certain level of professionalism, whether you are rivals or not. There are things that you don't want to document because it doesn't look right for your club, regardless of the outcome for
mm,
your club. It doesn't look right if there's leaks coming from Man City that Omar might be leaving. Do you know what I mean? It just needs to be swift, and I think it needs when it's so close to a rivalry. I think it's better to be swift because it gives
yeah,
less time to react. And when you do react, when it's done, it's more positive. Because I think if this was leaked before it come, there will be so many United fans that will be like, I'm not so sure. Looking at it and thinking, no, he's coming from City. We don't need him. And what's he bringing? And when it's done, it's like, oh yeah, we've got a coup here. We've done this, and it's kind of viewed a different way. So yeah, I'm sure people were aware, but the way it happened, I think, was best for both parties.
yeah. And kind of lastly, I know I kind of got an inkling of obviously your answer, but I know you know Omar personally. How do you think he's going to do in this role, and what sort of things do you think he's going to do first?
Oof, first. I
Mm,
don't know. Again, I'm trying to learn to become not as good as Omar or other people in that realm, but learn that side of the game. That's the route I want to go down eventually in terms of the
wicked.
boardroom and administration role. So the first 90 days are huge for any kind of new management or manager going into a club or a management role. It's kind of identify the changes and creating something in the first 90 days. And that tends to be relationships. I think in any walk of life, you get the best out of someone when it's more personal. So I'm sure that'll be the thing is identifying and saying, well, where do you get small wins? And that might be laundry, canteen, whatever. But again, I think in the summer it'll be. I think you'll notice a change with the transfers. I think there'll be
Yeah,
less speculation and more action. And again, oh, it's done. We're not waiting on something. We're like, well, what we identifying? It might not be known to the fans. It'd just be okay. That's what we want, and rather than thinking and again giving people time to react, because the longer you think about something, it tends to create more negativity for me.
Mm.
Mm.
And do you feel he'll be successful in the role?
Yeah, again, depends what you manage. You're measuring success on. What does that mean? Does it mean consistently challenging, having
It means
challenged?
us getting the title off you lot.
Again, but that'll be for me. That only happens when
Can't
Pep's
happen
leaving.
if Pep's not. Yeah.
Yeah, so when Pep's gone, I think it's a fair fight. So I just think so when that happens, I think we can judge it on then. And I think if it is fair when it's all said and done, I think that is progression. I think like Man United fans are becoming more realistic to what it is now and not thinking, well, we're just going to win the title. Like, no, there's going to have to be steps and there has to be a level of consistencies throughout multiple seasons for you to think we're title contenders. But like I said, the gloves are off when Pep leaves.
And just from your own experiences, lastly, I know you spent what five seasons at City, was
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Um, you saw what the early City was like through a lot of change.
Mm,
Actually, like Man United's trying to go through change, new owners coming in, new investment coming in, new restructure. You've seen it, and you reap the rewards for it, winning 2 Premier Leagues. Like how do you see that from a player's perspective in terms of the change that's gradual, and then you start seeing yourself becoming more competitive and the types of players you start playing with? I mean, you've played with the very best. Like, how do you see that, and how long does that take, and what's that like as a player to see those changes occurring?
Slightly different now, I think, because it was United were the pinnacle, and there
Yeah,
was
you lot were
always
trying to catch us. You was just
yeah, and
closing,
it
closing,
was always
closing.
just one team. There was never three or four teams that were going to compete for the title. It was United and someone else. Where I
Yeah.
think it's different now. I think it's slightly different. I think it's City, but there's three or four teams that are trying to get to that stage. But for me, like what we're seeing now, honestly, is what was explained to me when I joined the club, and I was like, I'm not so sure it's going to happen in the time frame the chairman
Mm,
stated, and it literally happened. He said within 10 seasons, we're like, we are going to have this many titles and we're going to do this, and the club size is going to be this. And like, we knew about the City group way before it was a thing. We knew we were going to be competitive, but he kind of, not ruthless, but made us aware that we will transition as fast as we need to get the players that will get the job done. And luckily for me, I
mm.
was part of that group that was successful, and it just continuates, don't it? It just you you attract more players at a higher level, and it's always kind of not easier, but it's slightly easier when you are winning and players want to join. You know what I mean? If you're competing with someone, oh, the money's going to be similar, but we're going to win trophies over there. So, and if I'm guaranteed trophies, I'll take less anyway. You know what I mean? I want the trophies, so that's kind of helps when you are winning, but it's not easy to win.
That was, bro. The amount of pain you've caused me, bro. Like that. Obviously, I know you must hear this all the time if you come across Man United fans, and just that 11-12 season,
Yeah,
and just what happened in that moment. And I remember, bro. I just remember seeing us done and dusted at Sunderland,
yeah,
just watching, thinking, "Ha! I can't believe we done this. I can't believe we done this." And
yeah,
it was almost like the famous Aguero moment was just, well, it's just the catalyst for like
yeah.
all of what you see now, innit? And for you to have
100%.
been
Yeah,
part of that is mad.
100%. I don't think the club trajectory happens as if that doesn't happen, and I don't mean win leagues or win that league. I mean the way it happened. I think the way it
Mm,
happened was important to what the club is now. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't just you win the title and it's your first time you win it, you're 5 points clear. It was like no, it has to be goal difference against your rivals, and it had to be you. It couldn't have been anyone else for it to be as big as it is now. So yeah, it's so important,
mm.
and yeah, massive, massive moment.
Honestly, I'm glad you retired now, bro. No more of that foolishness. You know what I mean? Listen, bro. Thank you so much for coming on, man. We really, really appreciate that. I really appreciate it because
No
you didn't
worries.
have to do that, man. And the insight, yeah, is amazing. I know you obviously speak to Omar quite a lot personally. Just tell him, listen, we're happy to have him. We're gonna welcome him with open arms. We
Yeah,
don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Anytime he's cussed Man United in the past, it's different now. He's
yeah, it's
ours. He's gonna
different.
be
Yeah,
loyal
yeah,
to
of
us.
course. Yeah, to be fair, I
uh,
just spoke to him. I couldn't even wish him well.
you couldn't.
couldn't even wish him success. Nah, but nah, a good guy. Yeah, we had a brief.
How's he been in that obviously without revealing personal stuff, but in terms of just how he seemed at the new opportunity, how did he
No, he's
seem?
excited, obviously, and he should be. He's earned the right to be in that position. So yeah, as I said, it was brief. I'm sure he's got so many other people to speak to and things to sort out. So yeah, again, I wish him luck, if that's the right word. More, I wish him luck more than success.
Don't worry, man. Listen, he might call you and say, "Yo, Joleon, listen, you want to
Brother,
come
you
over
never
here?"
know.
Like, I'll
I
tell you
won't
what,
answer.
man.
I'll say, did you mean to call? You have to text me what you want first. So, yeah.
Nice one, man. You guys smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and if you enjoyed this insight from Joleon, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll catch you on another video soon. Joleon, we'll speak soon. Take care.